our auxiliary product add-ons have tripled over what it was last year.
So cross-selling is a big part of what you're doing.
Yeah,
okay.
Like when we first started, I was so Medicare supplement or MAPD mindset. So now it's like, what can you do to add that on? Because you're really doing people a disservice.
Yeah.
I mean, they've coming from group coverage, so they're like, what do you mean there's no dental and vision or cancer, you know, the different options.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today on the podcast. I'm excited for our guest. We're still here at Medicare Con, and we're talking with Melissa MacCalla of Senior Healthcare Solutions. She is out of Titusville, Titusville, Florida.
Right by
Orlando's on the mind. I was just there, guys, okay? I was just there having a great time, but she's from Titusville, and we're super excited to talk today because she's a powerhouse in the industry. And one of the things that I love doing is I love putting a spotlight on people who are doing awesome things in the industry, helping our clients, because you know the name of the game, right? As long as we're helping people, the money's gonna follow. And so I wanna hear more about her story because I've been getting to know her a little bit at this conference, and I think you guys should get to know her as well. So Melissa, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for having me on. This is a major goal, check off my list while I'm here, get to meet you, hang out, get to know everybody better, and do a podcast. So
awesome.
That's awesome. So basically how my story is here it is now 2022. 2014, my brother started the family agency, Senior Healthcare Solutions.
And your brother's name?
Ken Brannigan.
All right.
And initially I kind of thought he was crazy. I was like, all right, you've done that before, go do it again. I was coming out of retail, I had just gotten married, and I didn't want to stay in retail as a manager. And so I went to work for State Farm. So he was like, really? You're gonna go work for State Farm?
Yeah.
I'm doing Medicare.
Now, did you P&C at State Farm?
I did.
Did you? So that was one of the first insurance gigs I did.
Really?
I got recruited into the insurance business through Primerica.
Okay. I've heard of them, yes.
And then when I left that, I went to United, what was it called? Oh my God, I think it's United American. I went to United American.
Okay.
I was selling ancillary policies for a while, and then I had a buddy who worked in the P&C space, and so I was just like, maybe I should go try that out.
Right.
I went and worked I didn't start my own, but I was working for a State Farm agent. It was an all-girls office.
Oh, wow.
And
ours was all girls too, with one guy.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a crazy time. It was a crazy time, but it was a good experience. So, but ultimately, I mean, what led you away from the State Farm side?
Well, and luckily it introduced me to insurance and the ins and outs and kind of get to know everything. And basically, my husband and I decided to start a family. He owns his own business, so I couldn't be working overnights. He couldn't be canceling charter trips. So I reached out to my brother. He was ready to go. To grow, and I was like, well, this would be great. I can work from home, have a daughter, and everything's going to be great. And basically, so I went over to him in April of 2016. My daughter never stayed home. She went to a sitter after 2 or 3 months. But I worked for my brother for a year, and then he got an amazing offer that he couldn't pass up to go help another competitor do their direct to consumer. So he's like, hey, I can't pass this up, I'm leaving you. And I was like, oh, great, I've been here a year and now you're gonna leave me alone, because not only are you going, you're taking our admin. Perfect. I understand how this works now.
He likes giving you challenges. That means he believes in you.
Right, he does that, it's great. So I ended up, within a year, I bought the business from him. I worked alone for about 6 months before my mom retired from IBM and came to work with us. And so she worked in my house for probably all of AEP, just so she could hear everything and ask questions. Because you know how Medicare is, it's confusing to everybody.
Yeah.
For her, it was a little bit easier to understand because my dad had been on disability and he had Medicare, and they have friends turning Medicare age. But so she came, and then we worked together for about a year. Then we hired somebody else, but we were basically just self-generate, the word I'm looking for, but just kept going. We weren't really spending any money in marketing. My brother and I, we would have quarterly meetings and talk hey, you could try this, do that. But what we were doing was working. So, just show up, work every day, do your job, love it. I didn't even know about the Facebook groups that were going on, anything like that. And so.
Around what year was this?
Well, just for 2018, 19, 20, 21, I didn't know, well, not 21, this last year, but just everything going on. Even when COVID happened and people were worried about their jobs or what was going on, I mean, people were being forced into retirement or, oh, I'm going to go on Medicare. So it never, how it was. It didn't impact anybody's business, really. If anything, it helped it grow. So a little over a year ago, my brother, him and I had been talking for a couple months, and he's like, well, I think it's time. We're either going to do it now or never. So what are we going to do? So I was like, well, come back. I mean, you're going to take a pay cut, but come back. We'll figure it out. We'll hire some people. I mean, we've got money in the bank because the whole time, like, I never took a raise. Like, we just kept building it up. And
you kept reinvesting into the agency.
Right, yeah,
okay.
That's what we were doing. So basically, he came back. We decided to hire a few more agents, invest in a marketing person, just invest in ourselves and do what we need to do so we can invest in our future and everything
growing.
else. Right.
Yeah. So what would you say if somebody is wanting to replicate the growth trajectory that you've had? What would you say are a couple tips to help them?
Okay.
It sounds like one of them right there was to not take all the profits. You need to be reinvesting. Do you have maybe, I don't know, a recommendation of, whether it be a percentage or whatever, of how much should be going back into the agency so that they can continue to grow?
I mean, that's hard because I sit here at Medicare Con and I listen to people. I'm like, man, if just only 2 years old, like sooner, I would have taken that money and invested it. But there's really, you can do it at any time. You can't really compare yourself to others like we've all been hearing. It's just taking what you think, the percentage that you think you need to invest in your business and where you want to grow to and where you want to be.
I gotcha. So it's also because then you have to factor in speed. Like, so if you want to grow to a certain level, if you want to double your client base in 2 years, then you're probably going to need to take a larger amount of the profits, reinvest that, versus if you're okay doubling your client base over the next 8 years, then you don't need to take out as much.
And that was one thing too. Now our client acquisition of new clients is so much greater than it had been in the past. Whereas like I would get referrals and stuff, but I was also doing internal replacements at the time too because I was so customer service based. So after 2 or 3 years, when your client gets, hey, my policy went up, $30 a month. Well, we can change you. So now it's not as much as internal replacement. I mean, we're still servicing them, but we're doing more add-ons. Like already this year, our auxiliary product add-ons have tripled over what it was last year.
So cross-selling is a big part of what you're doing.
Yeah,
okay.
Like when we first started, I was so Medicare supplement or MAPD mindset. So now it's like, what can you do to add that on? Because you're really doing people a disservice.
Yeah.
I mean, they're coming from group coverage, so they're like, what do you mean there's no dental and vision or cancer, the different options. So
you were mentioning earlier that you didn't really, for a while, you really didn't have to invest in generating leads, that people were just coming through the doors. Like, what would you attribute that to?
Well, we were purchasing some leads, but I was just, at that time, I'm not sure, they were good quality leads, but it was also, there was referrals. I was involved in the community. I sat on the board with Chamber of Commerce. I've done Lead Brevard, which is a great program. So just,
what is that?
Lead Brevard?
Yeah.
Oh, it's an amazing thing. They have it all over the country. It's where they take different people, you sign up for it. I had gotten a scholarship for it. I think it's about $2,500. But you meet once a month with people from all different occupations, and you do just leadership training for a day and more of challenges and just growth. It was
And this is basically you're meeting with people from other industries, other leaders from other industries outside of insurance.
Correct.
Okay, so you guys are just learning and kind of figuring out, hey,
and
I
do
could
problem
take this
solving
and that.
together. Like you're stuck in a room, and how are we going to get out of here?
That's dope.
Yeah, it was
that.
amazing. It was a great time.
So then that way, I guess, ultimately, you were doing some, I guess that's more like the grassroots side, because you're out there going to Chambers of Commerce and Lead Brevard. I've never heard of that, so it's an interesting name for me. So yeah, I would love to see more about that. Well, it's for the county,
but they're all over the country. And then my husband has his own business too. He's a charter captain, so he fishes with people from everywhere, all over, and all of ages too. So that's something
he's selling
you can
for
tell.
you.
Right. I'm like,
is he on the payroll? Because he sounds like he's selling for you.
No, he's always like, so when are we going to make enough money to get that 47 Freeman? And I'm like, who said that was my goal? That's your goal.
We're married, so this is our goal.
Right. That too. Okay, got it. Exactly.
So now your brother's back in the business with you, and now you guys are scaling. So what is currently your, let's just say your 5-year goal?
Our 5-year goal, so what we've started to do this year was just put, because I had bought the business from him, so we're still family owned, we're still women owned, and just brand ourselves. So his idea last year was Medicare with Melissa, so get that out there, learning just to do more posts, do more Facebook Lives, do that kind of stuff. My 5-year goal, I don't want to scale too much. I'd like to have probably 6 or 7 more agents. All of our agents work remotely, so I still like to have that relationship with them and have them be close so I can go to their house for the day and work with them, just take my laptop and hang out, listen to their call, just so they have that interaction too, and just be in a comfortable spot where we've grown and continue to learn and do all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I think one of the key ingredients for happiness, that mix, that blend of the growth of a business and also the balance of the family, right?
It is. That's the hard part too to find sometimes.
Yeah.
And I already know, like even taking the money last year and reinvesting it, you do feel defeated sometimes. But I'm like, we've done this before. We can do it again. Like there's no failing here.
Yeah, exactly. Because you only fail when you actually quit. When you stop,
exactly.
Right. So it's like you keep moving forward. You take the L for a little bit, but then you end up, keep going. So I think that Josh Lustig talked about it today, right? He asked the question, what do you want?
Right.
And he was talking about the different levels that agents can aspire to if they want. And the key to finding that balance is knowing what you want ahead of time and then creating your business plan around that, right? So I like that you said that because with your 5-year plan, you're like, well, I don't want to scale too much. Like you have something in mind already.
I have goals in mind, right?
Yeah, you have some in mind of where you want to hit and what level you want to be at.
Right.
And again, the biggest thing, don't compare yourself to other people.
Exactly, because that will drown you.
Yeah.
That will defeat you too, all over again.
Yeah. So currently you stay obviously pretty motivated because you seem to love what you're doing.
Yes.
Right? What would you say then to agents who are watching with client retention? Like, does that play a big part in what you're doing? Because obviously you're getting a lot of referrals.
Yes, and I love my clients. I mean, that's the thing. I think for most of us, we're here for our clients and to serve them and do that. Like, it is about the next sale and how I'm going to get it. But I have some clients who've been my clients for 6 years now, and they can call me and say, oh, how's your daughter? Or I have one client, I was telling somebody else yesterday, every Christmas he sends me, I can't think of the name, koozies or something, it starts with a K, but like they're nice nuts. And I know he can't afford to do that. And I'm always calling him. And this year at Valentine's Day, I got a FedEx package and I was like, what is it? And it was their chocolates. And I was like, I told my husband, I was like, oh, somebody beat you to it.
Someone's trying to make a move.
Right. I love, and he's like 83, the guy that sends it, Lynn. He's amazing.
They're the smoothest ones. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, we'll have conversations, but it's just really about that. And I want to continue to do it for the clients. I want to have that relationship with them and build that rapport. And that's how you get your referrals. And that's how when if their spouse passes away or something, then you just, you're crushed for a minute because you know how.
So starting from the beginning, for agents who are getting into the business or maybe they have 50 clients on the book, so they're still in that growth phase. The biggest thing I always head on with people, right? Because what we've been talking about a lot has been intrinsic value. We find intrinsic value in what we're doing because we want to help people and we see the difference it makes. So a lot of agents who are just getting started are still focused on the money. Right. That's really the extrinsic value. They're focused on the money. How do we make that mind shift so that, because I've noticed that the more of the exponential growth will come when you make that mindset switch. So
what happened for me this year, I can share with everybody, is that there's a little insurance group that Rebecca Davis, Medicare Wonder Woman, started, and somehow I came across, not even her group on Facebook, but they did a retreat in February in Orlando, and I was like, well, this is right in my backyard. I don't have to pay for a flight. I'm going to go. And I went, and that's where I met Sandra, and her speech just really changed my mindset. And everybody there, everybody there was great. But, just the positive mindset. And, I am, like Josh has said it too, like I am the best. So, I am the best Medicare agent in Titusville. Or I am the best Medicare. I wake up every day with the positive mindset just to get the negative out. Yeah. And it's going to come to you. Your business will grow. You'll get the referrals. You'll get that. It's just getting out there and putting your name out there. That's it. And doing it. And just not giving up. Like, even on a day, I was listening to a podcast the other day that Danielle Kunkel-Roberts had recommended to me. So even when you think you're having a bad day, so your son didn't win a soccer game, or this happened, or you and your husband got in a fight, is that really a bad day? Like, did you drive through a war zone? Did you do this? And that's so true. So even if you have a bad day, don't let it ruin everything. Just, even working with my brother, I'm like, oh, you jerk, whatever, right? I just walk away from my computer for a minute, and I'll come back. Like, I'm like, I need 5 minutes, and I pace around my house for a minute, and I come back. I'm like, all right, you get rid of it, and you just keep moving on.
Yeah, perspective is key.
Right. That's what you've got to have it.
Yeah. So I mean, the family dynamic, it obviously seems to work with you guys, right? Your mom's still on board too, right?
Yeah,
So.
and she's like supposed to be part-time, not work Fridays, but that like she'll be emailing us at 8:30 at night. I mean, I guess it comes back because my brother and I go to bed early and we're up early, so we're like, stop working. She's like, I can't take next week off, and I'm, why? Why can't you take? I mean, we can survive. I can check your email. Come on. But she gets all the referrals because of her friends, her agents, just everyone loves her, and I love her too. I'm not like I wasn't trying, but it's great. It works out great. It was hard in the beginning. I'm not gonna lie. Like it was a big transition for all of us. But we've learned what makes each of us tick, so we know how to talk to that person now. We know how to approach that person, and we're all on the same page. So it works out good.
So because we were bringing on LOA agents, that are working for you, are you also bringing on administrative staff as well?
So we had somebody, and it didn't really work out. So I had told my brother about a couple weeks ago, I'm like, that's we need a customer service. Like we need to put it out there on Facebook. We need to get somebody that's admin, because then I'm stuck doing it, or he is, or my mom, and that's not where our best time can be used.
Right.
So that's one of the main things. Like once you get your business set up and you're ready to go, you have to bring on somebody to help you.
Yeah, and that's going to be the key.
The key, right?
Because, when you, we don't realize a lot of times how much I don't want to call them mundane tasks, but the administrative tasks are a time suck. Right,
like somebody calls you, I need to change my banking information. Oh great, now I have to call the carrier. That's going to take 30 minutes of my day, depending on who I'm calling. And I just didn't have that scheduled in my day today.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I mean, the hiring an admin will cost money, but you've got to spend some money to make it, unfortunately. But you'll get to the point where you can do that. Because you don't want somebody else coming out there and taking your client.
Well, when you see a net positive result from doing that investment, then it all makes sense. But it's always hard for people to initially pull that trigger. But I would say 9 times out of 10, if they are a growing agency and they make that decision, they end up seeing like, oh my God, I should have done this earlier.
Right. And another key thing is just to make sure your admin is licensed as well, so they can help answer any questions, or even say, oh, your Medicare supplement was approved,
but you
didn't get the, did you need DVH? Did you need this? Something that they can help you with.
Yeah.
And even if they pass it on to an agent, but that way they're knowledgeable in the stuff that you do.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big tip there. That if you can have them licensed, it just makes them a lot more flexible in how they can help.
And a lot more useful to you. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Well, Melissa, I know that we're at a lunchtime and we're at a conference and there's other speakers coming up, but I wanted just to take some time.
Yeah.
So I want to take some time just to say, introduce you to the world here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
They get to hear your story, get to see what you're doing. People might want to pick your brain a little bit and ask some questions. Are they allowed to find you on Facebook and send you a message if they want?
Yeah, Facebook, go to our webpage and email me, whatever. However you want to find me, you can find me, Melissa MacCalla on Facebook.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for being on.
Yes.
And everybody, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching the podcast. If you like the content, please hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you can get notified when more new content comes out. We'll see you on the next one.